If I make you laugh, will you give me some time? 'Cause I know that a girl like you could be falling in love with just about anyone. All I want is just to know you. It's just to hang around, walk on the same ground. You remind me of the days gone by, all the real good love turned it up just in time. And if I show up, will you show me around town? Will you show me around town? If I make you laugh, will you give me some time?